Hey, what is going on, guys? It's your friend GSQ Sub Evo. Today, I'm bringing to attention a critical change that had been previously brought to Gears of War 4. The topic in which I will be discussing is competitive. What is competitive, though? Can we really say that competitive is more competitive? Can we say that competitive is justified in Gears of War 4? You may wonder, where is this going? What don't we know? When it comes down to it, we often know actually very little and hope for the best, making sense of everything by simply playing. I'm going to start you out by defining the word competitive. Competitive is a term which means that something is well suited for competition or having a feature that makes for a successful competition. In the case of Gears of War 4, competitive features within the cycle are two contributing factors summarized as tuning. These features are movement and strength within the very shots that come from your gun. So now that we know what we're talking about, let's understand why I bring this topic up. Not long ago, we had an official update that had taken all competitive tuning and applied it to not only one individual playlist, but all competitive game modes. These game modes included escalation, execution, and of course, competitive warm-up, which did include King of the Hill and dodgeball. In terms of the tuning and what that entails, the question I feel strongly unanswered is why the changes? And of course, were they worthy? Because we cannot get direct answers to a lot of these questions, I started off answering them myself by thinking like the Coalition for a moment. In the past Season 1 in Gears of War Esports, we had what some may refer to as 1.0 movement and 1.0 tuning, and in the off-season we went through a series of betas to eventually get to the updates we now have. But I ask, why would the Coalition update this after Season 1? My best answer to this question, given what I know that the Coalition has both publicly stated within video context and throughout the forums and their YouTube channel, is three major factors. First of those being fan base. The entertainment value while watching escalation is somewhat limited, given the feedback and results. In terms of viewership after Season 1, we can say that there was more expected from this game given what the game reviews were like initially, and factor 2 being there's a notable lack of character each player has while playing, and an inability to be unique in a sense, summarized best after reviewing off-season part 1 video on YouTube. Factor 3, the weapons are too strong. Well, I should say they were, and there had to be a decrease in overall weapon strength. Also best summarized after reviewing off-season part 1. So now I ask, if you are the Coalition and you need to make the game more competitive, what do you do? If you had to make the game more entertaining for viewers within esports, what do you do? If you had to please the desires of esports players given the feedback you've received, what do you do? In Gears of War history, there has always been one tuning for all primary playlists. This gap was made within the launch of Gears of War 4, having a competitive playlist in itself. After this most recent update, that gap has never been ever bigger. In Gears of War history, there's also been a pretty well balance over the years of the two major contributing factors of game competition, defense versus offense. Now, of course, not in any game can you win without some sort of offense. However, the balance between the two, up until Gal 4, has never been so balanced. You may say, now you're going to be getting opinionated here. Well, you're correct. But I must not stray you away from the actual fact that if you are an experienced Gears of War player watching this video, you likely tend to agree that for anything someone has ever did from an offensive standpoint, there's never been something else you couldn't do to prevent or defend, with a slight exception from the Retro Lancer in Gears of War 3. For our time purposes here, I'm going to evaluate an entertainment factor to better understand why and if the update that had occurred was good. From a logical stand, if you wanted there to be more entertainment given any game type, you would want there to be more going on. If you increase the defense strategies in a game, well, obviously less will go on. So on the other hand, you increase the offensive strategies and then more goes on. The Coalition has done this through both tuning in movement and tuning in weapons. Unfortunately, the updated tuning requires you to be in a significantly closer range than any other previous Gears of War game. Instead of, let's theoretically say, being able to do damage inside of Mercy Church from 2 benches away, you now have to be 1 bench away or even closer. The changes in damage to specifically the Gnasher, aka the most used weapon in the game, have dramatically changed the way in which people can now play. Instead of playing covers and playing for damage, we now are faced with changes that benefit a run-and-gun play style, which requires the use of Gnashers to be up close and personal. Essentially, if you're playing with the very gun that made this game popular, or are playing the coverage system that made this very game popular, you are now in a position which plays for 1-shots rather than 2 or 3 damage shots. I express no opinion on this, however, find it objectively speaking to be unlike Gears of War at all. Now, taking this into consideration, if you unbalance defense and offense and heavily weight offense more, this consequently must in all actuality limit your defense. So in theory, the solution to finding a closer balance again would be to change something else. What was also changed during the update was the movement. The movement, while faster to a wall, is more ineffective now due to the inability to reach walls at the same distance as previously experienced in all tunings in Gears of War 4. The question here is, does limiting a player's ability to get to a target or area of a map slower properly counterbalance the increased offensive strategies updated through the weapon tuning? If you listen to this conversation this far, you may be putting this all together for yourself. My problem that I see with the updates is that the update overall makes you feel unbalanced. It makes you feel out of your zone. It makes you feel limited in strategies. It makes you feel like you're not even playing Gears. I'm not here to bash the Coalition. I would find it hard to believe that they are not trying for us in the future of this game. However, I cannot find justification in limiting a player's abilities to the capabilities of some. The learning curve in which this game has had over the years has ultimately dwindled. This update has made Gears of War a run-and-gun blind fire special. I'm not bringing this to attention because I don't like Gears. I'm bringing this to attention because I love it. So I bring to you the table solutions. And, I truthfully just thought about these and I don't see it any other way. My first solution would be to keep the weapon tuning strength the same, but remove the restrictions from movement while playing. In other words, bring back 2.0 movement. The second solution would be get rid of escalation or play half and half escalation execution in pro events. You'd have not only a lot better teams come out and play, but you would also see a lot more entertainment factor while watching these games. My third solution would be to change the weapon tuning itself to something more like core while keeping the same exact movement. Ultimately, my favorite solution would be this. Bring back 2.0, and I think we can all agree, or at least most of us agree, that this would be a proper solution to the problems with the current update that we are faced with. I hope you guys get a chance to grasp exactly what I'm talking about here. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer. Need a better explanation? I'd love to explain. If you think I'm wrong, please tell me because I'd love to listen. GSQ is not here for us. GSQ is here for you. Help us help you. Thanks for watching this video, guys. This is GSQ Sub Evo, and I am signing out.